Hi, Jonathan.
Bruno, good to see you.
Yes, this is day 7. How many days in the
Day
market?
7.
Yes, all right, so close to the end. And of course, the first question in my mind is tell me a bit about the attendance. How many passes can you?
Oh, we haven't added up the number yet. It's somewhere around 7,000.
Right.
People were still registering yesterday.
Yes.
Sometimes people come in very late to register. They're not sure about their visa. New programs. We have people in Los Angeles that decide to come over late. So we'll know the numbers in a few days when we go through everything. But just as full as always.
Yes. Yeah.
About 7,000.
What would you say to people that are maybe just not regulars who say, hey, the market doesn't look so busy, the corridor are not full, and how can you dismiss that?
Well, first, if you go to the supermarket, you can look at the corridor and know if the market is busy. When you come to the AFM, where we have 29 cinema auditoriums, we have 3 stages that are always operating with different sessions and presentations, and we have 350 companies having meetings. If you are in the hallway or you are sitting in the lobby, you are one of the very few who has no appointments, no invitations, and is not interested in any movie. That is not what the AFM is about. When I see the lobby crowded, I am worried that too many people have nothing to do, and we don't have the programs or the films or the companies that interest them. So I'm happiest when I see the lobby empty, because I know how many people have credentials. I know that there's 7,000 people walking around the show. I prefer an empty lobby.
Right, although this weekend the lobby seemed packed. This Saturday, Sunday, Monday was pretty busy.
Well, again, when you say packed, maybe that's 150 people.
Yes.
Maybe 200, 7,000 people at the market. You know, the lobby going from 200 to 100 may seem an empty lobby, but it's just such a small percentage of those. It is like the groundhog. If you think you can predict by sticking your head out and looking at the lobby, then I wish you well, but it's not the right test.
It's very subliminal anyway. Just like you see someone in the lobby with a luggage leaving and say, "Oh my God, shit! It's the beginning of the end. Oh my God, and I'm not finished. There's so much work." So it's a little bit of.
Everyone has a different schedule.
Yes.
You know, there are buyers from some smaller countries that don't arrive until the 3rd day.
Yeah.
Because they know that they cannot get the meetings. Maybe they're coming from Turkey or from Chile, and they know that the sales companies are not going to meet with them until they meet with the bigger territories. So you see some of the bigger territories maybe finishing after 5 days, and some of the smaller ones only arriving on day 3. There are so many different business models. There are so many different issues and priorities for all of the different participants. You cannot just say with one wave of the wand, I have taken a look at a lobby or a hallway or a suitcase, and I've made a decision on how the global film industry is operating.
So that gives them a global answer. Thank you so much. What could you say briefly from what you hear, what you judge from the state of the industry?
Well, I think for the most part, and I haven't talked to as many companies yet as I plan to over the next week or two, I'm really pleasantly surprised how many companies have said they are adapting to what I'll refer to as the New World Order, which is the streaming platforms, the on-demand platforms. Remember, when you start to look at a script today, it may be 2 years before that film is brought to market. There's a long lag time. And the industry didn't used to change so quickly. So if you were a little off the mark, it didn't matter, your film was still going to be marketable. Today, we're seeing films that were decided on 2 years ago in many cases. And so the decisions of what the marketplace would want have to be predicted well. And we see now that those predictions are more in line with what the marketplace desires are. And I think by the next AFM, we'll see that even better. Remember, the press from Toronto was very disappointing in terms of business. Then we see here in talking to companies, they seem to be doing well. The marketplace is moving faster right now than the production cycle. And that's very interesting. And that'll slow down. The pace of change in the marketplace will slow down as people settle in to this new, the new world order of the platforms.
Yes. Talking about economy, I want to raise 2 or 3 other subjects and see how you think they have an impact on your market and on the business people are doing here. First is the politics. China versus United States? Did you see any?
Well, we saw that the buyers from China were down maybe 25%, but we don't think this is about the politics.
No?
This is really about the difficulty of getting money out of China and the difficulty of those companies pre-buying and committing to deals and actually being able to transfer the funds. Also in China, their film industry is becoming more and more successful, and many of their audiences are gravitating towards local production. I think very little of the change has to do with global politics. It's really about the macro side of our industry, what the Chinese audiences want, and a little bit of the issues of getting cash out of the country.
And also, if I can rephrase that, maybe also regulations. Is there anywhere where you see
regulations are like a dial on the oven where you are constantly changing the temperature. And so the regulations, they come and they go. A film will pass piracy will pass censorship one year, the next year the same film doesn't. These are things you just can't predict, and it could depend on what bureaucrat happens to be seeing the film that day.
Yes. After, it's a long shot, but what about issues relating to global warming, state of our planet?
Well, I hope nobody is building
plastic.
I hope nobody is building new cinema auditoriums at sea level.
Yeah.
Other than that, the topic has not come up until you've brought it up.
All right. Okay. Because I was surprised, and then made me think in Berlin that they start putting they cut on plastic cups, and they kind of installed something where you would rent a tin and no more straws and stuff like that, and it seems a little bit odd and almost surreal, but in the end it makes a little bit sense, I think. But anyway, how about also some hot topic in festivals? How about here in the market dealing with gender parity? So when are you going to say, that would be stupid, I guess, my point of view, I want as many women speakers in the panels that
Well, this is an interesting topic on many levels. We sometimes promote the American film market on Facebook. And when we do this, I will say I would like the AFM promoted to everyone that has gone to film or television school in the last 20 years. And we will promote it, and then Facebook will tell me a week later who saw the promotion.
Yeah.
It always is at least 75% male. Now, I didn't ask for 75% male. What Facebook did was say, you asked for everyone that went to film or television school. We presented all the ads throughout all the Facebook platforms worldwide, or just English language, whichever I chose. Either way, 75% male. So this begins with education. It begins with training. It's followed by mentoring. It's followed by job opportunities. Excuse me. We have been turned down by more women to speak on panels than men.
Really?
Why? Because successful women are in very, very high demand. We are not alone in saying we want parity. Every studio wants parity with directors. They want parity across the board with cinematographers. They want parity with set designers. And there isn't parity right now with the number of women who have reached that level of success in their career. Either because they haven't chosen the path, the education opportunity wasn't there, the mentoring opportunity hasn't been there. And so it's been very frustrating for us, actually, from a programming standpoint, to see the women that have had to turn us down simply telling us, I'm too busy, I would love to do it. But I am getting invitations every day to speak, I'm getting offers to work every day. I wish I had 3 of me, is what one said, because I could keep all 3 of me busy.
How do you build your, speaking about panels, how do you build your editorial line? Where do you see yourself adding more areas of research expertise in the next panel next year? And how do you measure success in terms of, attendance, I suppose?
Well, the first thing with the panels is we view our conferences somewhat like university, where the university does not change its curriculum every year.
Yeah.
It may have a different instructor, it updates its book, but it recognizes that the same subject is important. every year. So we tend not to change the curriculum of the conferences too often. Now this year we expanded into a television conference, which we will continue to do next year. We moved our VOD session to focus more on AVOD because it's more interesting this year. But the topics...
You added VR, sorry to interrupt. VR is new, or was it there?
We tested this year having sessions on VR.
Yeah.
So we will test some things. 80% of what happened on our main stage, this is where we can accommodate audiences of 600 or 700, 80% of the topics were the same, and the audiences are always in the 500 to 700 range. Then we have two other stages. One where we can seat about 250, the other about 100. These we tend to be a little bit more nimble with. We looked for topics that we will only discover maybe 2 months out. And we just listen to our audience. And it doesn't matter to me, the attendance is not the issue. I'm not looking for a session that everybody wants. We did a session yesterday on monetizing documentaries. Maybe this is interesting to 5% of our audience. Right now we're doing a session on micro-budget as we speak. 250 people in the room. Later on horror. We did a session on why you should have an intimacy coordinator on your set. So we're always looking for topics that are just interesting at the moment, and so it's listening. I judge the success not by the size of the audience. If there are 50 people in that session, that was important to the 50 people who were there.
And you do some kind of exit polls, research, you name it?
We always ask questions of everyone afterwards. What did you like? What didn't you like? We listen, but we have a benefit. We work in the industry. If you look at other trade fairs, they're all run by trade fair professionals. They came from the furniture trade fair. They came from the electronics trade fair. We're very fortunate. The AFM is run by the Independent Film and Television Alliance, and it's the only market in film or television that's run by the industry. And so we are well connected. We work in the industry year round. Our board of directors is made up of sales and production companies. So it isn't that we know more, but we don't have to go very far to find the answers.
Right. One or two questions on the economy of the market. Some people say, yeah, it's getting much more expensive. So how about what is? Can you share things that happen here in the Loews? Square meters.
The buyer badge and the attendee badge, the price has not gone up in 20 years.
Right.
So from inflation, it gets cheaper every year. The exhibition space has only gone up with inflation for the last 30 years. So it's relatively the same price as it was 30 years ago. I think what has changed is the profit margins on some companies. Their desire to promote themselves possibly at a level that is more high profile maybe than they can necessarily afford. But we're in the business of serving the industry. And so we listen to the industry, they tell us what they need. Again, I have the advantage over Reed Meadham. Reed Meadham, let's say they look at MIP and MIPCOM, they're only looking at the profitability of the market. We first look at, did we serve the industry? And is the industry all in Santa Monica, and are they getting the services that they need? So we constantly make adjustments like this.
What's really, what's a plain fact is how expensive the hotels have become now during the AFM. It's an issue, of course. But
it depends on your point of view. If you would like to stay at the Martinez or the Carlton during Cannes, you will spend 700 euros and then walk through a very crowded street to try and get to your office in the Palais, where you spend $450 a square meter for your space. If you're here in Santa Monica, you can stay at a hotel for $300, $350 a night and be just as close. The AFM is for most about 6 or 7 days. Cannes runs 10 or 12 days. And the perspective just depends on what it is you would like to do.
And of course but some filmmakers would not even consider staying at the Carlton or whatever.
And some stay in Nice and take the train in.
Yes.
Some in Santa Monica stay in Airbnbs and take Uber in.
Right.
There are so many options in a city the size of Los Angeles compared to the options that you have in the south of France. That those who are seeking a more economical solution can find it quickly.
Right. You already mentioned how you measure things, panels. How do you measure the overall success of your 40th? How many editions?
This is the 40th American
40.
Film
All
Award.
right. All right.
Our success is by talking to the companies and asking them first, did you meet with everyone you wanted to meet with? And were you able to present your films or packages in the manner you want? Meaning, if it was a film, was it in a proper cinema? If it was a pitch, were you able to make the pitch the right way? Were the right people in the room? And ultimately, did you do the business? And is there something that we could have done to improve the business? Now, some companies will say, all the buyers were here and they loved my film. The next company says all the buyers were here, but they didn't like my film. What I'm asking is what we as the event organizer can do to improve the business. One of the things we did this year was some companies said they would prefer not to have their office in the Lowe's.
Yeah.
So we said, we will accommodate you, we will develop a program so you can still be part of the AFM, but you can choose a different location. We separated participation in the market from renting space from the market. So you can be a market participant, but not rent space. And it's not any different in Cannes, where you can do similar. And so we're constantly changing and constantly evolving to whatever tool the sales company needs to do business efficiently and economically. I want to make sure that we're providing it.
I'm not sure if you can share that, but how long can we expect the EFM to stay here at the Louvre and surrounding
Forever.
places? Forever.
The AFM will be in Santa
That's
Monica
clear.
forever.
Santa Monica
Full
here,
stop.
but here?
Full stop.
Yeah.
In the AFM, the AFM will be in the Lowe's in
Okay.
Santa Monica forever.
Oh, okay, sure. Fine. Well, thank you for answering all these questions, Jonathan.
Happy to. Here we are sitting by the beach.
Yes, well, we can't complain. Look.